Hey guys, I'm IzDaisho and I am here playing some Magic, and today I am bringing you the third round of my first Avacyn Restored draft. So to refresh your memory, this is the black-green deck that I made, and it's an alright deck. Definitely not the best one that I've made so far, but it was my first try, so I think it was pretty decent for my first try. I'm going to lead off with a Wandering Wolf. Luckily, I had him in my opening hand. It's always nice to get a Wandering Wolf at the beginning of the game and just start out with him and play him turn 2. Such a good card, especially if you can get something to Soul Bond with it, or something just to pump it, some tokens on it or something like that. Anything to make it stronger. Like, I mean, if you play Wandering Wolf turn 2 and then Blessings of Nature, Miracle turn 3, that's insane, but obviously that doesn't happen most of the time. So anyway, he's just played a Scroll of Avacyn and sacrificed it. I play my Pilgrim, but I do not choose to Soul Bond them. I don't really want my Wandering Wolf to be trading with anything, and that's basically the job of Nearheath Pilgrim. He just trades with stuff, or he Soul Bonds with things that are able to be tradable. Expendable is probably the word that I was thinking of. But anyway, he plays a Moorland Inquisitor here, and that's a little bit annoying because that dude can get first strike, and then he can pretty much shut down my side as it stands right now. Obviously, I'm going to be able to swing in this turn with my Wolf because he's not going to want to block and just lose his Inquisitor, because he can just hold off in the next couple of turns and then give it first strike every turn, and then it just becomes a real threat for me. Anything with 2 power or less just can't profitably attack. So that would be a sad day for the IzDaisho. But anyway, I do swing in here and he decides to take it, so he goes down to 16, and then second main phase, I got land screwed a little bit. I started, my opening hand was 2 lands and a Borderland Ranger. I missed my land drop 3, but I hit it on turn 4, and then I went ahead and picked up another land. So now I'm pretty much good to go for a while. I mean, I do want to hit 6 lands eventually because I have a couple of 6 drops, at least one. I can't remember if I have more than one, but anyway, it's really nice to just get for the 4th land drop here, and yeah, we'll see what happens here. He's not gonna play any land, so it looks like he was a little bit upset also that he missed his land drop. But anyway, I'm gonna play my land here, and I'm gonna tap 4 and play Druid's Familiar. And Druid's Familiar is just one of those cards that is just really powerful. He's 4 mana, and then when you drop him on the table, that's 6 power of damage. So he becomes, if you Soul Bond him, that is, he becomes a 4/4 himself, and he gives +2/+2 to someone else. So 6 power for 4 mana is just really a lot more than you can even ask for. So I swing in for 4, take him down to 12, and I'm just thinking all I have to do is just skip into the into victory, and then this is basically just going to be game. All I have to do is swing a couple more times with my Wolf, and then get the Druid's Familiar in there too. May as well swing in with him also. Although I guess in this situation I probably wouldn't swing in with the Familiar, because he could just Righteous Blow and block and then kill it, and then that would just be sad for me. But he's going to defang my Wolf, and that's a little bit unfortunate for me. I'm really not a fan of defang too much, because even when a creature is defanged, it can still block. And just this set, it seems like there's if you're in blue, you can just bounce it. You can use like Peel from Reality or something like that if you're in, or you could flicker it with Ghostly Flicker, or Nephelia Smuggler. So you can, and then you can also flicker stuff with Cloud Shift and Restoration Angel. So it seems like there's a lot of flickering going on. If you're in black, you can just sacrifice it. So chances are you'll be playing one of those 3 colors. And if you are, then it's fine. He decides to trade with a Borderland Ranger here and take the 4 from the Druid's Familiar. And then I'm going to play my Demon Lord of Ashmouth, and there we go. I'm just going to sacrifice my Wandering Wolf, and I mean, it obviously wasn't good for me. I would rather have, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to have my Demon Lord on the table, but I also would have been happy to keep my Wandering Wolf. So he sort of, I mean, I needed to sacrifice a creature anyway for the Demon Lord, so it wasn't really such a big deal that I had to get rid of the Wandering Wolf, because it was just defanged anyway. So it makes it so that enchantments that make creatures irrelevant aren't as useful in this format, because you can just do different things to get rid of them. I know that green and red don't really have much, I don't think, to benefit with just having a dead creature or whatever. I guess, I mean, nah, it's not even worth it. I was just going to mention how red can still activate Bonfire of the Damned with it, but that's just, obviously it's a rare, so it's usually irrelevant. When you're talking about limited formats, you kind of ignore the rares. He plays another Defang here, and it's kind of funny because that's actually a little bit annoying for me. But right here, I'm actually going to play a creature. I think I'm going to play a Crypt Creeper. I'm going to get that guy right eventually. Bond him with my Druid's Familiar and swing in for 5 damage here. So that's pretty good for me. But he's just going to Righteous Blow my near Heath Pilgrim, which is fine. I don't really care. He wasn't really doing much for me, and I'm on the aggressive anyway. So now I'm going to play a Butcher Ghoul, and it's always nice to have a Butcher Ghoul in a black deck. As I just said, there's a lot of sacrificing, especially this one since I have a Demon Lord, at least 1 Bone Splinters, and a couple of. I think I actually had 3 Bloodflow Connoisseurs. I don't think I'd run that many usually. 1 or 2. Is about the amount that you want to run. But right here I'm looking pretty good because I have those 2/4 power dudes and he's at 4 life. So unless he can do something where he kills both of them or he kills one of them and blocks the other, then it looks like it's going to be game. And even so, I think I don't really remember what I had in my hand, but I easily could have had a Bone Splinters where I would have just like sacrificed my Demon Lord and then sacrificed my Butcher Ghoul or whatever. And would have been just a happy day, but he decides to give up here. Not really much he can do, and there's no point in extending the game any further than it needs to go. So anyway, I'm gonna lead off with a Swamp here. Oh yeah, I remember now. I was like, why am I playing first again? This is so weird. But then I remembered that my opponent decided to be on the draw because he was actually the guy. I already spoiled it, but he was the guy who was sitting to my right in the draft, and he wanted to basically just ramp up to his, or not ramp up to, but play his Grizzlebrand, and that's basically his goal. So he has all those removal spells, and all that, like slowing me down and stuff, those defangs and stuff, because like, I mean, even though they weren't such a big problem for me, they did slow me down a little bit. But anyway, I'm just gonna play my Angel's Tomb on turn 2, and then I'm gonna play Bloodflow Connoisseur, swing in with my Angel's Tomb, and he's gonna have to take it here. He could block, but it would be a very unprofitable block, especially considering he can just play a land next turn and threaten me out with Death Touch, and then basically my Angel's Tomb would be forced to trade with his Geist. And I think that's pretty much exactly what he's going to do here. And then my next turn, honestly, I disagree with my course of action, I guess. He's not going to play anything. I think he's just going to pass the turn right back. Yep, there we go. I think I should have swung in with the Bloodflow Connoisseur here. Chances are it's going to get in because he would rather kill the Angel's Tomb than the Connoisseur. And the Connoisseur still trades with his guys, so I'm really even happy to trade with the guy. So I basically would have just gotten in for an extra damage. Just something like, okay, this time it was just 1 extra damage, and it probably doesn't make a difference in the game either way. But just overall, it's just a good habit to get into. Think of all possible attacks, and basically what I should have been thinking of is, instead of, oh, I don't want to trade my Bloodflow Connoisseur for the Searchlight Geist, I should have been like, what are the chances that he actually does trade my Bloodflow Connoisseur for the Geist? And even so, if he does do that, then I get to keep my Angel's Tomb, which is just a really large benefit, and I'd rather keep my Angel's Tomb than my Bloodflow Connoisseur. Although I can't remember exactly what I had in hand, so maybe I didn't really have too many creatures left in hand, and then that would not have been beneficial for me, because an Angel's Tomb without any creatures is god-awful, terribly useless. So, not the greatest card ever. Anyway, he's just going to tap 4 here. He missed the land drop, which is another unfortunate thing, and he's going to play an Evernightshade. Evernightshade is a really, really strong card. And over the next couple of turns, a couple of interesting things will happen. But obviously he's tapped out here, so I can definitely get in with my Nettleswine. And this time I agree, I don't really want to trade my Bloodflow Connoisseur for half of an Evernightshade. But I'm just going to tap 5 and play a Marrowbats. So it goes from him basically walling me off with the Evernightshade, being able to just pump up to killing the Nettleswine and then undying, and then basically just being an annoying wall, to me being able to just swing over him with my Marrowbats. So that's really, really an awesome play for me. He makes his land drop 5 here, and at this point, I mean, I didn't know that he had Grizzlebrand in deck, so there's obviously it's obviously not that relevant. But anyway, I'm not sure exactly. I think he's actually going to attack here, and then I'm going to declare no blockers, and then he takes about a minute to think about what he wanted to do. In the end, he decided to pump twice, so he got in for 3. I was thinking he probably had like Barter and Blood, and that's why he was just swinging in. But it turned out that he had a Defang for my Marrowbats and a Bone Splinters for my Nettleswine. So Now it's looking like it's definitely in his favor, considering that one of my guys is pretty much useless. All I have is a Blood Flow Connoisseur, and he's got that Evernight Shade out here. But in my favor, I have a Bone Splinter, so I can sack my Marrow Bats and kill his Evernight Shade. So overall, the trades were Defang and Evernight Shade and Bone Splinters for Marrow Bats, Nettle Swine, and Bone Splinters. So the Bone Splinters cancel out, Marrow Bats and Defang, I guess, cancel out, and then Nettle Swine and Evernight Shade cancel out. I don't know. It was pretty much an even trade, I think. Those three cards, but it was not, obviously not great for me because I want to be winning. I mean, I am winning by 6 life here, but I want to just be punching him in the face really, really hard, really, really quickly. And obviously that slowed me down since I had to sacrifice some creatures and lose some creatures and stuff. He's gonna play a Crypt Creeper here, and not too big of a deal. It does mean that my Connoisseur can't get in. Unless I sack another dude. And I'm out of cards in hand, I think, at this point. So I'm just going to swing it for 2 with my Geist. And he's going to take 2, go down to 9, which is fine for me. And I think I just drew... Oh, no, I did not. Another... No, I drew Soul Cage Fiend off the top. That was a pretty good rip for me. Definitely useful when your opponent's at 9 life and you're at 17. You want a Soul Cage Fiend to be on the battlefield, especially with a Blood Flow Connoisseur on the battlefield, so that means that I have a sack outlet. That's really, really strong for me. But he plays a Driver of the Dead, and currently he didn't have anything in grave. He looks, and then I look. He didn't have anything in grave to bring back, so basically this turn he doesn't want to block with his Driver of the Dead because... he wants to wait until his Crypt Creeper goes into the graveyard. What he could have done, which would have been kind of interesting, is still blocked with a Crypt Creeper, sacrifice it before combat, and then also block with the Driver of the Dead. Driver of the Dead goes down, and then Crypt Creeper comes back. So that would have been a pretty cool block, I think. But anyway, I swing in with my Geist and my Soul Cage Fiend, so I guess he didn't really have that opportunity. If I had swung in with the Connoisseur also, he probably would have done that. It would have been a really cool block, but he didn't have, like, I didn't swing in with the Connoisseur, so he didn't really have a choice. I'm just going to let them trade and be happy with it, get in for 3. I mean, get in for 3, sort of. I go down to 14, he goes down to 6, and then I'm going to play my Malefeld Twins, and that's another really good draw. So I got 2 really good draws in a row that definitely were pretty awesome for me. So now he's going to have to figure out a way to deal with my Malefeld Twins, my Blood Flow Connoisseur, and my Searchlight Geist. So that's going to be a toughie for him, but he still has a whole bunch of cards in hand, so I'm a little bit worried. Luckily, he's only at land drop 5, so Grizzlebrand is not really a looming threat. Just sort of another random card. But anyway, I mean, to come back from this, it would take a lot because not only okay, so he has to block. Let's say he can't block my Searchlight Geist. That means that he has to block both my Malefeld Twins and my Blood Flow Connoisseur. Otherwise, I could just sacrifice my Malefeld Twins and then sacrifice one of the 2/2s that are spawned from it, and then it would become bigger. Some Fallen Angel stuff from Dark Heavens, right? Yeah, cool stuff. Anyway, so he's gonna defang my Searchlight Geist. So that basically means that what I just said was kind of irrelevant because I need to get in for 6 this turn, not 4. What I am going to do, though, is I drew another Blood Flow Connoisseur, so I'm going to play the Blood Flow Connoisseur, and then I'm just going to basically swing in and see what happens. So he's got 3 mana open, and at best, I think that he's got like a Deathwind, so he blocks, and I say, hold on a second, because I'm actually going to do some shenaniganry here. So I'm going to sack my Searchlight Geist. He's not going to respond to anything, so that means that I know he's out of Deathwind range, and I'm pretty sure that he doesn't have anything. I'm just going to go ahead and sack the rest of my guys, and he shows me his hand. So I hope you guys enjoyed that game. I certainly did. Have a wonderful day. Bye.